Well, it was a heartbreak loss for Nebraska as they fell to Southern Utah 79-78 in double overtime. Now, Robin, Nebraska led it the second half by 14 points. What went wrong?
Well, I mean, the shots stopped falling a little bit. Now there's some defensive breakdowns. One thing that Southern Utah did do that I think caused some problems was they went from a high-pressure on-ball defense early and then switched back to a 2-3 zone and basically dared Nebraska to beat them from the perimeter. And you saw for the South they were 5 of 26 from three-point range. And so when those threes aren't falling, it's really hard to operate in the half court. And so kind of similar to what UC Riverside did, they basically just challenged Nebraska to step up and make three-pointers. And again, the shots just weren't falling. And then the free throw line was an issue once again, 19-29. You cannot leave that many points on the floor, especially when they had a couple opportunities to close the game out at the end of regulation, at the end of the first overtime. There was a lot of opportunities Nebraska had to win this game. Like you said, you're up 14 points in the second half. You think you have the game in control, and it's just kind of a formality after that. But they let Southern Utah hang around, and Southern Utah is a talented team. They got transfers from Iowa State. They got transfers from UNLV. So, I mean, they have D1 level players on this team that if you give them an inch, they're going to take it. And so, for Nebraska, it's frustrating. They had, like I said, a lot of chances to finally get that first win of the Fred Hoiberg era, but time and again, they let it slip through their fingers.
And Nebraska did show some signs of improvement today. Fred Hoiberg mentioned in his post-game presser he was really impressed with Kevin Cross, just his fight the past few weeks, and he lost a lot of weight. He's been moving a little better. What are your thoughts on him, and where do you see this team improving?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin was certainly a bright spot, especially coming off that debut where he was 1 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from three-point range. I mean, look at his final stat line here. 19 points, 5 boards, and really was a primary source of offense when Nebraska needed it the most. I mean, he provided that inside scoring threat when Nebraska was struggling from the outside. So great bounce back effort by him, showed that he is far more capable than he was in that opener. I know people were pretty frustrated with that performance because Riverside was basically saying, hey, we're going to let Kevin Cross beat us, and he responded that way. Well, maybe they tried a little bit of the same thing with Southern Utah, and Cross stepped up. So certainly one of the few positives from this game. Cam Mack is another one I would throw in there. I mean, he almost put up a triple-double, and as Fred Hoiberg said, if he doesn't get into early foul trouble, he probably has a chance at getting that, the first one ever in program history. 13 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. He did a little bit of everything, and there was a stretch there where he scored 6 straight points and had a couple really nice assists when Nebraska absolutely had to get a basket. But on the same token, kind of the theme of the whole night for the whole team, he missed 2 key free throws there where they had a chance to win it. And so as soon as the team went in the locker room and met, he was right back out here before the post-game interviews shooting a couple free throws because he knew that those misses arguably were one of those situations where they lost the game. So there were bright spots that you could kind of pick and choose from there, but overall frustration, I think, kind of is the overriding theme tonight.
Yes, some bright spots to take after this game, but the season only gets more challenging. What's Nebraska's silver lining the rest of the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look at their progress, not so much in wins and losses, but some of the intangible things. Looking at bright spots like the development of Kevin Cross, Cam Mack establishing himself as a leader in clutch situations, improving the little things like free throw shooting and three-point shooting, and being able to respond to adversity better. They were a little better today compared to UC Riverside in terms of handling, punching back a little bit when the opponent was hitting them. But at the end of the day, there's clearly still a lot of work to do. And one of the things that the players, when I asked Gervais Green and Cam Mack after the game, what the number one thing holding this team back right now is, in unison, they looked at each other and said rebounding. They were once again killed on the glass, 57-44 against a long and athletic Southern Utah team, but still nothing like what they're going to see in Big Ten play. And so that's going to be an issue that I don't know how they fix it just because of the makeup of their roster, but if they cannot rebound, they're going to struggle like this night in, night out. So where do we get our progress going forward? I think it's just in the little things. If those little things continue to add up over the course of the year, the results are going to come, like Fred Hoiberg said. But right now, there's just not enough of those little things happening right now for them to go over the hump. But eventually, the bounces are going to go their way. They will get a victory. I can guarantee you, with pretty good faith, that they are not going to go 0-30 this year.
Well, the Hoiberg era is off to an 0-2 start, but the Huskers have a chance to change that next Friday when South Dakota State comes to Pinnacle Bank Arena. Tip-off for that game is set for 8 p.m.